the key to getting lean to stick isn't about all the physical tools. One Tuesday morning at 3 o'clock in the morning, I actually woke up and I had this idea. It's designed to be simple, it's designed to be practical. We're creating a movement where people are really transforming their companies, and it's happening all over the world. 10 years ago, our business was an absolute mess, an absolute disaster. Like, if you think of the worst company you've ever seen, we were that company. Operationally, there was orders going out late. There was a really high staff turnover. I was stressed out. I wasn't eating. I wasn't sleeping. And I just thought there has to be a better way. There really does.
So you came across this thing called lean manufacturing, which is very exciting, and it's transformed loads of companies around the world. But even when you started lean, it's not like it was the magic bullet and everything got better and now your factory's amazing and your business is at the standard it is now. So why is it that even if you started implementing lean, that you just kind of felt like your wheels were still spinning?
Yep. So when I went home one night and just got my iPad out and started to type in how to manage a factory, how to manage production, how to run a business, even, I came across this thing called lean manufacturing. Never really heard of it before. Didn't know what it was about, but I was hooked. There was something special about it, and I sat up all night watching these videos over and over again. And I came in the next day and I said, I've found this thing called lean. We're going to do this. And it was a struggle. What I thought was going to be the answer to making our business run smooth was actually a struggle to do. So the process of implementing lean was actually a burden. And what I've done over the past 10 years is documented everything we done, the things that worked, the things that didn't work. And that's my passion, is now to share our journey with as many people as possible, because we've made all the mistakes and the people watching and listening to this don't have to make them.
Sure. So when you started your lean journey, like, what were some of the things that you did that you thought were really, really important that now you're like, you know what, none of that stuff even mattered?
Yeah. So at the start, I thought lean was this physical exercise of cleaning, organizing, maintaining standards, physically organizing the business and setting up processes. And I quickly understood, or quickly found out about 2 years in, that the key to getting lean to stick isn't about all the physical tools and, shadowing all your tools out of Kaizen foam and making places for all your stuff. It's about developing a culture which does that. It's about developing a culture where every person in the organization has input and has say and has freedom to make tiny changes to improve the business. And that was the missing thing. It's that culture is the key. It was no good me running around making all these improvements. They were just being undone by everybody else. I quickly realized that what I had to do was focus on the culture. And the missing gap that I seen, because we were largely on our own when we started this journey. There was nobody in the UK or Ireland doing what we were trying to do. We had to go to Japan, I had to go to America, Germany, and kind of take all these ideas and bring them back to Northern Ireland. And I quickly realized that the key to lean is culture. But where is the process for developing a culture? Why has nobody ever laid out, these are the things you need to do to develop a lean culture? And that's where we've got to today. And that's why I'm so excited for what we're going to be talking about.
Well, you're being very shy. You're being very humble. This is a really special episode because this is where we officially launch Ryan's new book. So this is the Lean Made Simple book. It's the 12 proven steps for creating a vibrant lean culture. And it's not just 8 years of your lean journey condensed into, under 200 pages. It's all of your heartbreak and all of your pain and your blood, sweat and tears, all the mistakes. And then even the process of writing the book over the last 2 years. Do you want to share a wee bit about that?
It's an interesting story. I've actually been working on the book for 2 whole years. The first year and a half, I'd been working on the book and I scrapped it. I absolutely scrapped it and started again. It just didn't feel right. The message wasn't coming across the way I wanted it to. It just wasn't simple enough. And it was about 3 o'clock on one Tuesday morning, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I actually woke up and I had this idea. And this happens to me a lot, where I get all these ideas in the middle of the night. But I had this idea to write a book with a process, a 12-step process for how to create a vibrant lean culture. And I ran downstairs, got a bit of paper, and I wrote down the steps and I went back to bed. And those are the 12 steps that are in the book.
Is it really?
That actually is.
Wow.
Yeah. The idea just kind of came to me because I was a bit annoyed that I'd spent all this time writing the book. I had proof copies and I was reading through it. I just wasn't feeling it, and there was something missing. And the missing link was that it wasn't organised in a structure. It wasn't in a process. And now the 12 steps are 12 steps that we have followed at our company. It's 12 steps that other people have followed at their company. And by following the 12 steps, you absolutely will create a vibrant lean culture because we've done it.
Yeah. So when you say vibrant lean culture,
Yeah.
that's a pretty unusual word, and it's literally underlined on the front of the book.
Yeah.
You could have chosen, like if you had to put this word into ChatGPT, you could have got 100 other variations. You maybe even wouldn't even need the word vibrant. You could say 12 steps for creating a lean culture. Why did you put that word in there?
I underlined the word vibrant because that's what it is. Lean is exciting. Lean is fun. Lean is an engagement tool. I absolutely eat, sleep and breathe this stuff. Like if somebody had said to me 10 years ago, you're going to get really excited about this really boring Japanese philosophy that is all to do with efficiency, I would have said, that's not exciting. How would that be engaging? But we've made lean simple, we've made it fun, we've made it an engagement tool, and we're creating something, as you know, and you've been a massive part of it. We're creating a movement where people are really transforming their companies, and it's happening all over the world. And every day we get messages, we get LinkedIn messages, we get emails from people saying, we watch your podcast, we've came across your content, and we're in the middle of changing our business based on the content. So it's so vibrant, it's so exciting, and it's so simple to do. And that's why I get excited, because we're opening so many people's minds up to the possibility of running their business and running their life in an easier way.
That's the difference when people come to your factory. When I go to your factory, when people from around the world fly to come and visit your factory in a rural place in Northern Ireland, that's what they see. It's the vibrance that they see, and it's the joy. And people don't get joyful about just a boring message.
Nah.
Like people get excitement by a movement. And the thing that causes a movement is that vibrancy. And that's exactly what we've seen happen locally and further afield with this Lean Made Simple message. So it's very, very exciting. I was thinking at the start of your chatting about, when you first get into lean, I kind of had a picture in my head of like whenever someone really gets into trying to run or do a triathlon, and the first thing they do is to buy a really expensive bike, to buy the Lycra, to buy the special wee gels, to eat to make them go faster.
Yep.
And a professional knows like that stuff is not what it's all about. It's about getting your legs stronger so you can go faster.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who start lean, it's like they'll go and they'll buy the foam, they'll go and they'll buy a laminator machine, they'll go and they'll color coordinate everything. And what you've kind of discovered is that's not the thing that makes it work.
That's such a brilliant way to explain it, actually. I've never heard you saying that before, but that's it.
So at what point in your journey did you realize it was more than just the physical stuff or the things that look good for LinkedIn? When did the culture really start to emerge?
It was about 2 years in, and I realized that it was me and one or two other people going around making all these changes, creating all these what we thought were efficiencies for everybody else in the company to undo what we had done. So it's not possible for 1, 2, 3 people, the lean people or the lean team, to go around making all these improvements. They'll just be undone by the people who don't understand lean. So you might as well not even bother. So the key is not to focus on the tools. Don't focus on cleaning up your factory. Don't focus on setting up processes. Focus on the culture, and then everything else happens as a byproduct of the culture. So if I was to go back to the start of our lean journey, knowing what I know now, I would focus all of my time on developing the culture. And if I spent all of my time doing that, then the physical stuff would happen as a result.
Right. So for you, like if you go back to the, I don't even know what I said, the triathlon analogy, like what was the expensive bike? What was the thing that you spent silly amounts of time and money that you're like, this actually wasn't even worth it in the end? I should have just got my normal bike and just done more hill sprints.
Well, at the start, when we found out about lean, we just started labeling everything. We thought, this is what lean is. Let's just put labels on stuff, make a place for everything and everything in its place. So a place for the tools, a place for where the orders would stay in the office, a place where the products, a dispatch area. We thought lean was this physical exercise of putting stuff in its place and labeling.
Mm.
But it fell flat because 2 or 3 weeks later, the stuff wasn't put back in its place. The labels would peel off and nobody would replace them. So this big burst of energy to get the standard to a certain level is what I thought lean was. I thought lean was just, right, let's give it a good run for 6 months and now we're lean. But obviously we found out that that's not the way it is. And all of the work and all of the time and the money we spent was all wasted.
Mm.
And it was a learning, it was a lesson, it's a learning opportunity. But if we had have put that same emphasis, that same time, that same effort into developing the culture, it would have been sustained,
Right.
yeah.
So the kind of picture I have in my head is of like a bucket, and you're coming in with all this energy and you're pouring all this lean water, all this lean energy into your organization.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's holes in the bucket, it just keeps leaking out.
Yep.
And you'll go to Germany on a factory tour and you'll come back and you'll fill it all up again and then it just leaks out and then it leaks out. How did you start to plug the holes in your culture? And how did it get to the point where it was overflowing to create that vibrancy?
Yeah. So and that's exactly where the book comes in. You know, that's step 1 to step 12 and follow the process and it will happen for
So it's basically these are 12 holes in the bucket and each step is kind of plugs it. All right, well then let's do this. Let's just go to the first step. So first step is it starts with the leaders.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by that?
It's a number 1 step, and if you don't get this right, I'm going to look at the camera because if anybody's watching this on YouTube, I want you to get this. If you don't have this step right, you might as well forget. There's no point doing the next 11 if this one isn't right. A lean transformation starts at the top of the company. There is no other way around it. People can try and do lean in their department. Yes, it might work well. It might make their job a bit easier. But for a true lean transformation, the managers, the leaders or the owners of the company need to say, yes, we're going to do this. We're all in. We're all in. Let's do lean. That sentence has to come out of the mouth of the owner. If that doesn't, everybody can try. They can put in effort. They can do different things, but it won't really sustain if the owner of the company doesn't say, yes, let's do it. So that's the first thing to get solved. And if you buy the book and you're reading it and you've got the step 1 and you've realized that that's the problem, go and try and get that problem fixed before you go to step 2, because that is the source of everything. And we've seen it. We've had hundreds of companies through our factory on lean made simple tours, and on tours where the company owner comes and his eyes light up or her eyes light up and you're like, they get it, they're going to do this. And that's the companies that become successful. Step 1 is the leaders must be totally bought in.
So for the leader listening to this, who is that person?
Yep.
Just like you were, what are some of the big obstacles in themselves that they need to get out of the way so that the lean culture can really flow from them, from that first place? Like if you think back to you, what were some of the things that you were kind of holding yourself and your organization back by not getting rid of them sooner?
Yeah. I think that the confidence to stand up and say, this is what we're doing, because it is a very different concept. It is a Japanese-based thing. It's not normal for a company from Limavady, Northern Ireland, to be doing this kind of stuff. It's not. Let's just say it how it is. So the confidence to stand out and say, we're going to do this. We're going to go against the normal. We're not going to be like every other company around us. We're going to step out and we're going to be different. And I think that if the leader can get over that, then the rest is easy.
I didn't know you 8 years ago, but I think I know enough about you and your family to know that you were not a public speaker. You were not a podcaster. You were not someone that would love getting in front of a group of even 5 people and stepping out with that confidence that you have now and that confidence you just described.
Absolutely.
So speak to that person, because I think a lot of people can relate to, I don't even want to speak in front of an audience of 3, never mind 10 or 20 or however many people are in the organization.
Well, that was absolutely me. And I was at the Lean Summit just yesterday, actually. I flew home last night and I was talking to one of the leaders of a company that was there, and he's got that exact problem. He said, I love Lean, I get it, but I just don't have the confidence to stand up in front of everybody and say, we're doing this.
Mm.
And I said, you're going to have to get over yourself because it's not about you.
Mm.
It's about your customers. It's about the people you can serve. It's about your suppliers. There's more to this than just you being selfish and saying, I'm not confident enough to stand up and talk about this. So it's about getting over yourself. How I done that was that I started with a morning meeting, and I put this off for 4 months because I just didn't want to do a morning meeting. I didn't have the confidence to stand up in front of everybody. And I think it's good for people to hear that, because they can see the contrast from, what we're doing now with a podcast and writing a book and speaking and whatever else. But you absolutely have to get over yourself. And as in the ethos of Lean, just do it incrementally. Do a morning meeting, do one a month, then do one a week, then ramp it up to one a day. But small incremental changes in yourself. Step outside of your comfort zone, because that's what we're trying to do when we're implementing Lean. That's all we're saying. We're saying, is there a better way to do that process? That's stepping out of the normal, stepping out of your comfort zone. And the leader has to start and do that themselves in order to lead by example and show that I'm willing to do this too.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons why your YouTube channel, the podcast, this book is so successful is because you were forced to do Lean in a very difficult environment. Like it's almost like a joke. If you were to pick a place in Northern Ireland that would be the hardest to implement something like this, it would be somewhere like Limavady, where it's a bunch of country people who don't like to do anything unusual. They like to keep their head down. They like to work hard. They don't want to do any of this weird American stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if you were to pick a country in the UK, Northern Ireland would probably be the hardest place to do it. If you were to pick a place in Europe, the UK, Ireland would probably be one of the hardest places. And it's funny because it's so different to the Japanese culture. And I think because you have been in one of the hardest environments, it's forced you to get really, really, really creative to find actual solutions to implement this stuff. And that's why people all around the world are able to implement them, because you've done it in the hard place so that they can do it in the medium level place, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And even with the nature of our business, we build a bespoke product.
Right.
We're not making 1,000 of something that's all the same, because that's an excuse that a lot of people have. Oh, it's okay for you, all your chairs are basically the same. No, they're not at all. We have a very, very bespoke product. So if we can make it work with a very bespoke product and a very niche industry with a rural team in the middle of nowhere, if we can do it, anybody can do it. And I think you're exactly right. That's why people are saying, actually, I could do this Lean thing.
Yeah.
I think we can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other excuses on this first step do you think that the leader comes up with for why they don't take that step forward? What excuses did you have? Confidence was one of them. What else?
I think another reason is that people are so busy thinking that they need to run the business. They think that the next sales meeting, the next budgeting meeting, the next product development meeting is more important than the Lean meeting. Oh, the Lean thing, we'll do that if we get time. And that's kind of why Lean doesn't work in a lot of organizations. It's the meeting that's kind of put to the side if we run out of time. If we have time, we'll do Lean, but all these other things we've a meeting with a customer, we have a product development meeting, with all this busyness going on. And what we have done and what we continue to try to do is to make Lean the main thing. and put it to the front and center, and everything else is, I'm not saying secondary, but we're doing it with lean in mind. So again, it's back to step one in the book. It's the leader must make a decision that this is what we're doing, this is the direction the company is going in, and then it filters into everything else.
But it's because culture is the central point of every organization.
It is. So if you can imagine for a minute, any business owner listening to this, that your business should be in a position where you can book a flight right now and go on holidays for 4 weeks. That's the goal of I believe the goal of every organization, that you should be able to step out, that you're not in the day-to-day running off the business.
You're not bottlenecking everything.
You're not bottlenecking everything.
Yeah.
So imagine for a minute that you booked a flight right now and you're going to go to Australia, let's call it Australia, and you come back in a month's time and you walk around your business and it's not only running smoothly, but it's running better than it was when you left. Imagine you walk in and your people are all engaged, they're all happy. You walk around and you see all this new stuff happening, all these improvements made to serve the customer better. Well, I'm here to say that that's possible, and that's what we're doing. And that's only possible through creating a culture, a vibrant, lean culture. Our business gets better every day, and we're not involved in making it better. We have close to 60 people making these small, tiny changes all the time to improve the business, to serve the customer better. It's the most incredible thing ever. I just can't wait until more people have their eyes opened up to the power of lean.
Yeah.
The fact that your business can be getting better every day and every week, and it's not done by the owners and managers, it's led by the people themselves.
Yeah. It's really interesting. You said earlier about this first step, but has to start with a leader.
Yeah.
That it's actually selfish for them to not step up and not have the confidence and not work on the culture.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because a lot of the business owners that we work with, they are very servant-hearted people. They're very selfless people. But it's weird how that like selflessness can actually be very selfish, because if everything has to go through them, if they're the ones that are doing all the improvements, if they're the lean superhero in their organization, it's the most selfish thing on the planet.
Yeah.
Because they're limiting the growth of everybody. They're limiting the growth of the organization. As you say, probably sometimes whenever you step out of the business, people are like, all right, he's away, let's go, now we can do this. And sometimes if you're in around poking everything, it's like you're just getting in everyone's way.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a helpful reframe for people listening, because their fear of stepping out and their fear of doing this first step actually is a negative thing that's having a negative impact on their business and on their people.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you see the contrast, I love talking about contrast because it really helps people to learn. The contrast from 10 years ago when we started Lean to now. I was away at the Lean Summit there for 2 days. I literally didn't get any emails, no questions, no anything. And I'll be back in to work tomorrow and everything will be flowing. And if somebody thinks that I'm exaggerating, I'm absolutely not exaggerating. It's real. It's happening in Limavady. It's happening in Northern Ireland. Everything we're talking about, we're applying in our business. And it is possible for any company to adopt this thinking.
So let's contrast more. So what you just described, your way from your business, not only is it ticking over, as we would say, but it's actually improving and getting better.
It's getting better, yeah.
What was that like even before you started Lean, or in your first 2 years of Lean? You know, could you have gone away for a week? Could you have gone without anyone calling you or anyone contacting you? You were probably flipping making the chairs.
Yeah. I always go back to the analogy of nature. A tree is either growing or dying. It never stays the same. So if you look at a tree, you think, oh, that tree's static. It's actually not. It's either growing a tiny, tiny bit or it's dying. There is no in between. So your business is either getting better or it's getting worse. There's no such thing as an in between. So is your business getting better or is it actually getting worse by the day? Because when standards aren't upheld, they get worse. When the culture isn't getting better, the culture's actually getting worse. when quality isn't getting better, the quality's actually getting worse. And that's where we were. Things were slowly, you couldn't see it day to day, but month to month, things were getting worse. And it got to a point where we had to do something about it.
Mm.
And thankfully, I came across something that helped.
Yeah. So why another book? Because there's a lot of lean books out there. I've read some of them. You've read all of them. There's a lot of step-by-step guides. There's a lot of things already out there, either from the kind of more vibrant side of lean to the stuffy academic side of lean. You know, why? Because you're not someone who would just do something for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
You know, I hope you don't mind me saying this. You're probably not someone who actually enjoyed the process of writing a book.
It was actually a very difficult process.
It's not fun, you know? Like some
no.
people enjoy it, but, you know, you wouldn't put yourself through the 2 years and scrapping the book and starting again and doing all this stuff if you didn't believe in it. So, you know, why did you feel like this was important to write?
To be really honest, I seen a huge gap because people come and have been coming to see our factory for the last 4 years. We opened our doors up about 4 years ago, and people fly from all over the world to come and see what we're doing. And almost every single tour guest at the end of the tour says, "This is all brilliant. I love it. I get it. But how do I do it?" The tour only lasts 4 hours. So we obviously can't pack 10 years of learning into 4 hours. It's just not possible. So I wanted something that I could give people at the end of a tour and say, this is exactly what we done. Go and read the book. That's where the book started.
Mm.
So I wanted to give somebody a process and a toolkit to say, here, go and read that. It's all in the book.
Yeah.
That's where it started. But since that, you know, it's bigger than that. It's wider than that. I've realized since that there isn't actually a book out there on a process for how to develop a lean culture.
Mm-hmm.
There's loads of books on lean, on the tools, on the techniques. There is books on culture as well, but a process. And like we're all process driven people. It's surprising that there hasn't been a process for developing a lean culture from 1 to 12.
Sure.
And I think that's why the book is going to be, I think it's going to be huge.
Mm. And I was sharing with you, like, before we started rolling, like, yes, the book is beautiful. Yes, it feels good. The quality is amazing. Of course, because of who you are, like, I wouldn't have doubted anything else. But I actually don't even, like, when I was going through it, it doesn't even really feel like a book to me. Here's the first chapter. I'll just give it to you, okay? Step 1. Here's the text. It's 1 page of text and a big quote. Here's a recommendation from Ryan. Another big quote. Here's the biggest question that people have about step 1. I love the idea of transforming our company with lean, but I'm really already busy. This sounds like a lot of extra work. Ryan debunks that number 1 objection, you would say, from a sales perspective, and handles that straight away. Next page, bam. This is what I really wanted to show. Actual actionable exercises at the end of every single chapter. Like, this is a coach this is the coach that you wish you had whenever you started your lean journey of, okay, here's the content you need in as short a space of time as possible. Here's literally your checklist homework that you do. Have you done this bit? Okay, now you're ready to move on to step 2. Instead of just, here's 12 steps and I read them all and then I throw the book in the back of my car and I never do anything about it.
Yeah.
So I'm encouraging you not only to actually buy this book and read it, but more importantly, like, actually do what it says. Like, go through the exercises. Don't let yourself move on to the next step until you've done the first step. Because if there's anything that I've known from both seeing your journey up close, looking at the story over a 10-year period, it's always the action.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you can listen to 1 million podcasts, you can go to see 1 million, well, not 1 million, you could go see 100 factories around the world, and you could go back home to your business and it could stay exactly the same.
Yeah.
And it's the action that actually moves the needle, that brings about the change, that leads to that vibrant lean culture. And you've just written an action plan, and I think it's very, very exciting, and I think it's going to change the lives of a lot of people.
Yeah. And that's why I designed it in a simple way. almost as a workbook that companies can buy one for every person and work through it chapter by chapter, week by week at their morning meeting. It's designed to be simple. It's designed to be practical. And yeah, I'm really glad that you like that section.
Absolutely.
I might actually read out the first paragraph of it.
I love it. We exclusive. Let's go. By the way, our podcast, like this is the plan that we do for our podcast, right? So it's like these are the like rough bullet points, and we didn't even cover any of these. Like our whole plan went out the window by the second question. So a lot of this stuff, like it actually is just in the moment because that's just kind of how Ryan and I roll. So yeah, let's go. I love it.
I think that the first paragraph of the book sums up the whole book.
Ooh.
So it says, introduction. I've never been fond of big, text-heavy business books. I always struggled to concentrate until the end. That's why I've written a short, simple book with practical, actionable steps. This is the book I was desperate to get my hands on 10 years ago. That's really it. It's simple, it's short, it's straight to the point, and it's the book that I wish I had. That's what the book's about.
Awesome. Well, Ryan, I'm excited. I'm delighted to be part of this journey, as are so many people around the world. Like seeing your progress, even from like your first YouTube video, never mind, 8 years ago, but your first YouTube video to where you are now. And the reason why people are resonating is because you've made loads of mistakes and you've documented them publicly. Yeah. And it's like watching a character in a TV show, like the character arc over a long period of time. And I think more than anything, it gives people proof that they can do it as well. And I love your story. It's like, I'm just a guy from a small little village in Northern Ireland with all these big farmer-like men helping me build these chairs who probably don't want to do stretches and probably don't want to, be part of a vibrant culture on the surface. And you've just proven that actually you can turn any business around. You've coached thousands of people around the world to do the same. And now this is a way where people can access that expertise, access that roadmap for a very affordable price.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see how many people around the world experience the ripple effect of that. So I didn't even ask you, where is this being sold?
Yeah, so it's available at leanmadesimple.com.
Yeah, and I know that there's also, it would be kind of rude, the fact that we do a podcast and there's not an audio version. So there's the audiobook version, is there a Kindle version?
Yep. We've made it so easy to get access to this.
Cool.
There's audio, there's Kindle, it's on Amazon. It's so easy to get. It's available on our website, leanmadesimple.com.
Brilliant.
It's all there.
Love it. Well, Ryan, thank you for writing this. The early feedback's been amazing. Like even the testimonials at the start, like, you're just going through and it's just stacked. I was kind of joking with you. It's like, did you ever imagine that you would have, the former VP of Lexus writing the foreword to your book? Paul Akers, you've got, Toyota UK, Alan Weir, Russell Watkins, some of the most amazing lean leaders on the planet who are putting their name behind this. And so, yeah, let's just see where we go from here. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And yeah, see you in the next one.